What's up, guys? Guru Nation, Daniel Paris Nation, and Judy Galindo Nation.
Sun Valley
Have a
Nation.
good one, Sun Valley Nation, yeah. And YCT. Here you'll have a podcast with Daniel Paris out of Orange County, right?
I'm in LA.
LA. See, and then Judy from San Diego, that works in Imperial, if that makes any sense. And then Dan and Luis will be coming over. Have fun. Take care.
Luis.
Bye.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Here's Luis.
Bring your Coke. Bring your burger. Guru Nation, you heard from Jaime. This is going to be an interesting podcast. And Daniel's got the new mics. Shout out to Daniel. We're in Burger Theory. We have home of the YCT Burger here in Yuma, Arizona. And we have a very special guest. We have Daniel Perez from Gleam. We can now proudly announce.
Yes.
And Judy Galindo from Sun Valley Research Center has been on the pod many times. And the SOS co-founder. So we want to talk about a lot of different things. But I think it's appropriate to start with your career. This last year for you has been
non-existent,
but you've still been trying. Yes. And at the end, you got like several offers, and you ended up going with Gleam. But what was that process like? I know a lot of people are still unemployed or underemployed in our industry, besides the sites, really. And you said there were some sites, like some big sites, even shutting down. But these bigger corporations, CROs, they're laying people off. There's a lot of people in your shoes that you were in just a few weeks ago,
just
right?
a few weeks ago, that's right. So
what did you do to like persevere through that? And maybe take us through the lowest of the lows, like if you want, what that was like, and what strategies you used to cope, and how did you make it on the other side?
Yeah, it was a process of unfolding into a new era of discovery. I think that over the last couple of years, with the transition from having operated studies at the site, I was at a very large academic medical center, and then I went into a pediatric academic medical center, and then I went into a mom and pop startup site, clinical trial site, and then I went through the process of raising venture capital and then finding my way to a global CRO, and then just this abrupt halt.
Implosion.
Yeah, it was an abrupt halt, and I think if there's one thing that has carried me is that we fall into this illusion of permanence in our life, and I think that is our human biology trying to make sense out of life that's just complicated. Life is complicated. And I think one of the things that we as human beings are always resisting is change. Change is scary. We don't like change. We just adjust it to something new. And so we want to kind of just, have this stability. And so one of the things that has been the biggest blessing in the last few months has been learning to rewire my brain to embrace the unknown. And I think that is probably the single biggest investment that I could have made in my career from this moment forward, is this fearlessness of the unknown. Yeah. It no longer phases me.
Psychedelics help with that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I know from personal experience.
Yeah.
They do rewire your brain. You've done them before, right?
Yes, definitely. There is a rewiring there, and I think for me,
and it's like almost permanent too. It's weird. I was telling you about it. You should try one of these days.
I don't know.
But there's research now.
But I know others that do.
You guys gonna get studies. We're gonna get into that too. But sorry, rewiring the brain. But yeah, there's a lot in that regard too, as far as research is concerned.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, like I said, right, one of the things that we as human creatures are constantly on the search for is permanence. But there's literally nothing in life that is permanent. Yeah. There's no such thing as permanence. And, for however long we are where we are, whether we're a study coordinator, a site manager, study director, CEO, one day and next day you're somewhere else, I think what matters is coming back into the foundation of why are you doing what you do at any given moment? And when you do create a bit of an illusion of permanence around you, whether it's the illusion of security with a job or security of believing that, no, this is my niche and I'm going to stay here forever, right? And then like a year, something happens, a new technology comes out, makes that obsolete, or, you know, the climate of the world changes and makes that obsolete, and you're suddenly facing a very new reality. If you haven't learned to view life from that perspective of impermanence, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
You're going to have a very hard time. You know, so your question of the lowest of the lows, you know, I think at every inflection point, at every step of my career, there's always been an element of I don't know what I want to do next, because I get very fidgety very quickly. I've said this a lot, you know, when I talk to folks. I get fidgety very quickly, and what that means is I'm always looking for ways to create something new. And not just for the sake of creation, but because life is just changing. You know, even the way, like when I first started in clinical research, we had the carbon copy, what were they called? Data correction
CRS.
forms.
CRS.
Yeah, and then you had to
that.
get those sent off and all
The
of that.
pink and
3 copies,
yellow.
the 3 copies.
Yep, the 3
The
copies.
monitor would come rip
Yeah.
them and
Or
FedEx
fax
it.
them.
Yeah.
I used to
Fax,
them.
remember?
Yeah.
So, you know, these are things that they make up the.
Well,
the
they don't
impermanence.
remember.
No, I was just like,
But I do have to say, I do
He doesn't
kinda
even
miss-
know paper source.
hey, come on, nah, yeah, I know paper source. But I was like, okay, I didn't fax anything. I was like, I'll just scan it.
They don't know how to use the fax
It's like the
machine.
Flintstones were
These
like running
people
around
don't know how to
barefoot.
use the fax machine. But yeah, but everything
Yeah.
does change.
Yeah.
Everything changes, you know, and I think it's like, you know, we're in September and it's kind of hard for me to wrap my mind. And I think back to the last, 7-8 months. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
And actually, a very beautiful thing happened. I got very clear on what it is that I enjoy about clinical research.
Like
what
towards
is it
the
that
end
always
of your
brings me back?
unemployment or in the beginning? You needed that space to.
Yeah, you needed that. The space was definitely needed. Absolutely, the space is needed. You know, there are very real things that stress you out in life. You know, this security and having a paycheck and things of that. Those are very real
The enemy
things
of
to be
great
afraid
is
of.
good enough.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but you start to realize that the more important things of life starts to come into finer focus when that foundation gets shaken up. You start to realize, what am I actually doing? You know, what are we actually spending time on?
Yeah.
And that clarity was very, very important as I was figuring out, okay, what is going to be next for me? And it was just interesting because even 2 months ago, I would have not thought or even considered a pivot into technology or AI. But even just over the last few weeks, the clarity that has just settled, it's like, this makes perfect sense. You know, you are at the intersection of design of this next wave that I don't care how fast you run to go hide, you're not going to be missed by this wave of AI.
Oh, yeah.
The
This
disruption is already here.
Right.
It's already everywhere.
We're already getting
That's it.
patients scheduling themselves
Yeah.
and showing up themselves at the office.
Yeah.
Thanks
Like,
for the AI.
Yeah, there's a lot of AI and patient recruitment or related things in that area. Yeah.
So for me, you know, one of the things that I enjoyed the most of any capacity that I've been has been being able to bring clarity to what otherwise feels so chaotic and complex. It's what always draws me back to the spirit of a clinical research coordinator. It's the chaos of everything, whether it's the PI, their personality, their schedule, all of the stressors in their
spouses.
life, your colleagues, your clinic, the way your site operates, the sponsor, the CRO. There's so many different things that are so far away from your control that it is a constant chaos by design. And it's like almost a masochistic thing that it's like, God, that's what makes it so satisfying. It's when the patient is there and you're forming that connection. And yeah, right. We talk about data.
it's the
as
first
being,
principles.
Yeah,
of-
it's the data is the currency of our industry, but the story behind that is like irreplaceable. I can't, look back at my career and look at patients as data or look at my career as a progression of titles But I can tell you stories of patients and what we've been able to do with them and how those experiences have shaped my life, not just professionally, but in my personal life as well. And I think I'm just very excited to be able to find different ways to now help design and build tech, but also having been in the seat of the study coordinator, having been in the seat of the site manager, supporting staff through a learning curve, of like, oh, wow, well, now we have these new technology vendors. We got to figure it out. And guess what? The PI is still difficult to work with. These are the parts that you can't change. Having walked in those shoes and then stepped into site leadership, site ownership, and then also in the CRO space and understanding the stressors of my peers in the CRO space, which you really can't understand until you're there. The other side of
The
the CRO world is incredibly demanding, and I
And
have
you've got some stories from. Do you think? I think the days of CRO are numbered as we know them. I mean, I actually think the days of sites as we know them are numbered too. Like, that's something I want to get into with Judy. I think we have a good decade maybe left
You think
of
so?
like
I
the
don't think
heyday.
so. Yeah. But they would say it's the same thing like patient clinics. They still exist.
Yeah, but I think everyone's getting rolled up. Now we are seeing them fail.
Yes.
Some,
They're
so
not
that-
always working out.
Yeah.
So, I don't
But
know.
eventually they'll figure out how to not fail. I think we have maybe 2 decades then.
I don't know.
The concept of a site is okay, patients come, they trust that site, right? That's really all that we have. Like, the technology is independent of us. The doctors, they're starting to get rolled up, almost independent of us. The data entry, that's going to be done without us. Like, what's left is that trust with the patient.
And that face to face. So
That's
yeah,
in that
there's
face-to-face,
components of it
yeah.
that are going to be rolled up in tech, but that face to face, doctors are still seeing patients in person.
Yeah,
They went
yeah.
back from remote to seeing patients in
But
person.
I think
'cause
for
it didn't
like
work.
entrepreneur like me and you,
Yeah.
and like the core of Save Our Sites, I think 10 years we have like a good window to do very well until it gets very restrictive into what we can do. Like, you're already starting to see it.
Yeah. I think if you can adapt with the changes, then you'll probably be
There
around
you go,
long.
that's the
but if
part.
you still try to stay in the past 10 years that you without adapting
It's
to
over.
this, then yeah,
It's
I don't think you're
over.
going to last very long.
And that's where the employees learn
Yeah.
first. I'm pointing to you because that was your last role. They got hit first with this force to change. It's like you have a thesis, and then the technology brings like an antithesis, and that struggle creates something new, and then it goes through that same thing, over and over until it's unrecognizable, like what was there before. And I
right.
think we're going through that. It takes decades. Like, we'll be retired maybe, but the next generation, like Luis, he's 20 years our junior. He's gonna be dealing with these things after we're retired. So it's always gonna be that constant tension. I think it's necessary, but CROs are going through it right now.
Yeah.
I even heard Brad on his live stream today with Denali. I caught like a part of it. CROs don't come to the table anymore, like, for these conversations. That's his quote. Brad, maybe I butchered it, but the CROs are like kind of not as present when it comes to site sponsor issues.
Right.
And like, one of the things
Yeah.
SOS does foster that
Right.
communication.
I guess out of all if you think of sponsor sites, CROs, they've had the most change, I feel.
That's right.
CROs,
That's
right?
right.
Versus everything else. So
They're
they've
going
gone
through
a
it right
bunch
now.
of stuff, layoffs and whatever restructure. So we'll see who's going to survive in the end there.
And all those CRO people, like, they're laid off, they're, if it's not AI, they got outsourced to Latin America
Yeah.
or
seen
Europe.
I've
They're
seen a lot
coming
of
to the
contacts.
sites.
Yeah.
They're all coming to the
I was
sites.
actually telling Danielle a lot of contacts I get for certain CROs are based in some other country. Like, you can tell in the email signature, and they're still getting the work done.
That's
they're
right.
just based
That's right.
somewhere else.
And probably a fifth of the cost to
Right.
the sponsor. And
That's true.
they want that. And that ultimately, that whole thesis, antithesis, struggle creates something like more efficient. It's like survival of the fittest. Like, it's not pleasant to be an animal in the wilderness, but we're essentially like that in the business world. like you're out here hunting and you got to go through evolution in order to get that.
Yeah.
Adapt, yeah. And
Adapt.
some people adapt well, some people,
Some people
don't.
don't.
Some
Exactly.
people are resistant to
Exactly.
change, and all right, you'll die on that hill, but like you might die, like for real. And one of the things I admire about you, you've never separated too much, like who you are as a person versus your online. You know, what we're supposed to be professional on LinkedIn, and then you're supposed to be yourself in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to do that too, but you can never get all the way there.
Mm-hmm.
But you do that really well, I think. Like in your post on LinkedIn, they're probably some of the more authentic posts you see, because I'm tired of seeing a lot of these posts on same kind of stuff over and over. And now they're AI generated. It's even worse.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I admire about you, and I think that kind
Thank
of
you.
helped you get, alerted of new opportunities, because you stay top of mind to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think an important guiding principle for me in everything that I do is authenticity. And, I think it's really hard to remain authentic when the world around you is morphing and changing at such an accelerated pace. And the thing is, our industry is so decentralized, with sites having a physical presence. CROs are in the cloud, sponsors are in the cloud, and they're decentralized as well. Monitors have a pulse on the sites. But, a lot has been going on in my neck of the woods in Los Angeles with the immigration and ICE raids that have been happening. There's so much going around that it's impossible to separate and peel authenticity off.
Yeah.
To do so is not just a disservice to me, but I think it's also a disservice to a future generation of study coordinators that are looking to us to open up those pathways and those doors. And if we're not showing up as our authentic selves, we are essentially saying you're not welcome here the way you are.
Right.
And I think that is a very, very, grim way of looking at the future workforce of clinical research. In fact, that's actually very mortifying to think. Authenticity is very hard. It's also very expensive. And it will definitely cost a lot. It along the way can cost relationships. It can cost opportunities. I have definitely experienced that as well, but it is worth it 100% of the time. 100% of the time. I just posted something, I think it was yesterday. Judge Judy's one of my favorite TV personalities.
You don't watch Caso Cerrado?
It's too intense.
That's all my swag. I've seen every episode.
Yeah, but she had a quote. She said, if you've got a good, if you say the truth, you won't ever need to have a good memory. And
Judge Judy, yeah.
And if you really think about that,
that's true.
The easiest thing to do is to be authentic, but the stakes are very, very high to do so. Because in order to step into a truly authentic life, you have to be okay with people not liking that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
I think we need more of that. Even if you don't agree or disagree, you can still listen. And again, that's that whole tension that we need to evolve as a society, as a country, as a species.
And if you think about it, it's that very thread of authenticity that makes us human.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting
the AI
because
can't
in
do
the
that.
world of AI, exactly, these are the very threads that are now, no pun intended, going to be gleaming like gold in the sand.
Shout out to Gleam.
It's can you bring your humanity back into your work?
Yeah.
And AI, there was another post yesterday about being AI first or being AI centric, being another word for like we put AI before staff. And for me, to have that mentality is like building a house without its foundation. It's gonna crumble. It's just empty, and you are already seeing it everywhere, right? You can see it from a mile away.
Yeah.
But how do you program, or how do you prompt engineer authenticity? I think that's increasingly harder to do if you don't know what that means for yourself as a person.
That's right. It's hard enough to have a definition for what that means. Like, I've been reading a lot of philosophy lately. I think the Greeks had it right with their heroes. Like, today we compartmentalize too much. Like, he's a good worker. He's good at data entry. She's good at recruitment. She's a good mom. It's like the Greeks had it like this was a courageous person.
That's right.
This was a virtuous person. And home, work, on the battlefield, it doesn't matter. That's your characteristic. And we've hyper segmented that to where everyone says anything's okay and also everything's bad.
That's
or
right.
everything's good, and then nobody disagrees. It's just how you feel, which we don't have a common agreement on what is good. Like, what is actually good for sites, what is good for the patients, what's good for the industry in general. But I don't see that changing unless it's forced out of it with this technology, which maybe that's what's happening.
Because it could also be what's good for the moment. So we also have to understand there's a capacity for the place, the time, and the people. Okay? The reason why I'm segmenting those is because the type of conversations that were needed around psychedelic studies, as an example, in the early 2000s.
Oof.
I mean, even to this day.
Those are a stigma.
Truly,
You were looking like...
even to this day, right? The war on drugs has this stigma around recruiting patients.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about psychedelic studies. So that's one thing, but I'm using that as an example of like how the time changes and evolves, and so our definition of what is good is also impermanent. There's a transience to it. Mm-hmm. And so if we can acknowledge that the closest thing to permanence in that is the human suffering of illness.
Yeah.
You can hang on to that one for eternity. As long as humans are breathing,
That's true.
we are going to be going through waves of illness and suffering.
That's
the North Star.
That's the North Star. That's probably what we should all be looking at ultimately. And maybe that's not good for sites. Like, I don't know. I really don't know the answer. Maybe it's not good for CRAs. I don't know. But ultimately, it has to be good for the patients, which is, by the way, all of us.
That's right.
We're all patients. We're all trying to live longer, live more meaningful lives. So it's interesting to see how this stuff kind of plays things out. But I don't think AI is the solution for everything. I'm with you. And sites are using it, though. Like, are you guys using it?
We're using some, I think, patient recruitment.
Yeah.
To re-engage our database, and we're just
Shout out to Patient Ace, Runnick.
Patient
We
Ace
love you,
and
man.
another vendor, actually, that we're
okay.
using. Which is actually one of our SOS sponsors.
You can shout them out.
Phases AI.
Phases
So,
AI.
yeah.
Hey, isn't that he came by?
James.
James.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they're cool. They're cool.
I think we're a week into it where they're kind of re-engaging the database, and so far,
It's working?
I think it's somewhat working. So I think up to today or yesterday, we had 10 pre-screens that they did on contacts that we were never able to get a hold
Wow.
of.
Like from the past.
From the past.
Fernanda's been doing
From
that
the past,
manually.
but with their AI and Polly, which is this automated AI person, I guess they were able to get a hold of these
Pauline,
people.
wow.
And actually pre-screen, actually answer a bunch of questions, collect medical, psychiatric, medication stuff. We
and
couldn't
that's
even
like
get a hold of the
that's like
patient.
untapped revenue
Exactly.
that you would have never seen.
Right. And then re-engage and then possibly find people to bring on the screen, right, in
That's
your
right.
database that you never got. So I think that's something new, and if it works,
I
that's
like
a game
that.
changer. Yeah. it's a
And
game
what I
changer.
noticed from that is that doesn't replace a human.
No.
That's
So
something that would have never happened with
and
or
actually,
without.
this is a good point because one of our pre-screener recruiters is very involved with providing feedback. Well, I went through a pre-screen. Great, you collected all this, but you missed this, and so actually they connected today and they're improving it. Whatever they want us to update or whatever questions they'll go back and fix it and make sure it's done. So still test mode, but they're gonna get it right eventually, right? Where
That's
we don't
dope.
have to provide feedback
at some point. So it's not very like 100%.
It's
of
not
the
100%,
AI.
but we
Us-
still have to go back and look at the pre-screen.
Exactly.
They have to go back and see who they thought was a potential candidate actually was not a good candidate, and this is the reason why. So it still requires human involvement, but it takes that process that would have taken possibly hours to do
Right.
Yeah.
into a 15-minute process. You log in, check it out, yes or no, there you go, you move on, right? So I think it's a tool, right?
Yeah,
A
there
tool
should be tools.
to make our jobs more efficient, exactly like other tools that exist out there. Are they going to replace the humans? I don't think so. Do they make our
It'll
jobs?
replace the humans that don't know how to use the tools.
That's
Yeah,
right.
true.
Well,
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah.
And it'll help make those that have the role more efficient, be able to do other things, right? And be able to do more in their day. So
More higher level stuff. Even data entry, what Gleam does.
right.
That's like the grunt work
Yeah.
of our industry. Like nobody, you give
Nobody
that
wants
to
to
the
do
brand
it.
new person, and that's like their punishment
Right,
for
right.
being new.
So I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing. I'm a very observant person. I've had the privilege of being a study coordinator, and I've had the even bigger privilege of mentoring from intern to research assistant to developing a study coordinator to someone that just graduated into his first manager role as a site manager. It's like a very proud moment. I don't have
Right.
kids, but I imagine that's what it
Right.
feels like to have kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very observant. So I'm gonna actually highlight Luis for a second, because earlier that we were going through our activity, that moment that he was not tied up to the computer, what I heard Luis go out there and do was talk a patient through their treatment study options, alternatives for, I think it was an asthma study that I heard you.
Shout out to Luis,
And
man.
I heard him, here's what I heard, right? I heard him reassuring the patient that don't give up, don't give up just yet.
Wow.
There might be another option. I heard him encouraging the patient, establishing rapport. AI is not going to do that.
No.
AI is
I
not
know
gonna do
humans
that.
gonna listen to
But
him.
AI enabled that connection to happen, and it comes back to
Yeah,
the authenticity. How many times when I was a study coordinator, I would sit there on the phone with the patient for hours because I just wanted that connection.
Right.
And then in the back, it's like, you didn't get your data entered.
Yeah,
You're
your
not going to
monitor,
get
yeah.
paid. You have
Right.
all these
You're
queries. The
behind.
monitor's coming. Oh my God, right? So all of this is happening. The patient it's not their fault, right?
Yeah.
It's not our fault either. It's nobody's fault. It's just a design flaw
Yeah.
that AI can address. But I highlight that because that's the value that I think is hard to quantify in a metric.
Yeah.
That's something that's going to be hard to put on a visualization, on a Power BI report for our CRO colleagues.
Right.
But where's the measure going to be? We're going to see it in the quality of patients enrolled, the quality of patient retention, the satisfaction of the patient experience. See, the thing is, I don't pivot away from my ethos of what I do in clinical research. I just find a different medium for it and a different ability to be able to deliver that. It's like drug mechanism of action, so to speak. A healer is still a healer. And that's what I aim to do in everything that I do. But I am very observant, and I don't, and I know for a fact I would not have landed at Gleam unless I had seen what I saw today with Luis. I saw it very, very clearly when I first met Oliver. When I saw Gleam, I thought to myself, this is going to empower so many coordinators to be able to restore connection without the sense of urgency and having to
Yeah.
rush off the
Right.
phone and making a patient feel like they're a burden,
Right.
when in fact we are all here with all of this because of patients, and we
Yeah.
will one day be in this. And I had the treat of seeing that in real time today with Luis, so I wanted to call that out, right? Because he was able to very quickly on the dime just jump on this call with this patient and probably made that. So that's probably the difference between a patient that's going to come back,
Right.
and when
Right.
that study option becomes available, they're going to be leaned in because they felt listened to, they felt validated, they felt like someone is actually looking out for my best interest. AI is not going to do that.
No.
Definitely not. And good observation. And I'll let you cook because that was great, man. That is exactly what we're trying to say. And there's some sites, with or without tech, they're going to overburden their staff. I think you will have patients not getting communicated with properly because
right.
of that.
Right.
Or it could be, hey, we got database lock, you need to do this or
Right.
that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, but you're right. Having tech empower, facilitate those kind of conversation, that's higher value. For me as a business owner,
Right.
what he did, and I didn't even know about it, but he saved revenue
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
as opposed to a late data entry. Like,
Right.
honestly, you don't care.
And the other things that folks don't pick up on in the trenches of a site, it's like, these are remnants, right? Again, I'm a very observant person. I may not be looking at you, but I'm picking up on a lot. Things like, well, do they screen fail or exclude because of smoking history? Well, what does the protocol say? It doesn't define it. It just says this. Well, for every minute that your coordinator needs to get consensus with their coordinator colleagues and the PI, and then get on the phone with the CRO, who then needs to escalate it to the medical monitor to get the sponsor to weigh in, that is time and effort to get a patient in the study.
Yeah.
That is invisible in a budget grid. That is invisible in a metrics. But if I know one thing, you're not going to be able to get that granular of fine-tooth combing, and you're going to get better outcomes in your patients enrolled if you were tethered to the computer 24/7, which is what we experience today. So more of that is what I'm looking forward to with Gleam.
We need to unlock that at scale.
Enable AI
What
to
happens?
unlock
What's the
human
end?
intelligence.
What's the end result of that? Let's say that's successful. What's the end result of that? Do sites need less people like Luis, or would we hire more people?
Oh God,
Because
I would hope we need
Lily-
more.
Lily and Takeda are happier with their studies, so they're doing more. That's the bullish case, right? The bear case is they're gonna do less. I mean, I'm less
No, I mean,
leaning towards that.
I guess as a site owner, it frees them up to be available for other studies, other patients. So
Yeah,
in a
that's
sense,
right.
he's doing more, but not focused so much tied down on the data entry and using his skills for other more complex things.
That's right.
But what we did, let's say that plays out, we raised expectations now.
That's
so
right.
sites that don't
Yeah.
adapt, they look like dinosaurs. Like you're getting your data entered in 5 days. Currently, that's considered really good. If it's gonna be 5 minutes at some point.
I don't know about 5 minutes.
Well, with the Gleam,
I know it's Gleam, right?
And I was telling Judy, if you blink, you miss the
I know,
autofill
that's
of
what
how
it is for
fast the
me.
data entry goes.
serious?
Yeah, if you blink, you just won't see it. So
Wow.
It's done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
We sorry. We already did.
You did.
They did a test.
And you
about
missed it? You
Yeah.
missed
Almost
it?
I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. I was shocked.
That's cool.
yeah, because my question to him was like, okay, that's cool, it can do that, but how much time does it actually save? And it's like you said, it's going to be kind of hard to tell right now until you test it and scale it
Yeah.
out and be able to say, well, he was able to do all these things every day,
Yeah.
which he couldn't do before.
Well, I
right?
think it unlocks site creativity too, because now if your coordinator doesn't have to data entry, hey, what happened in that clinic Dr. Shaw told us about? You know, we never did a lunch and learn there.
Yeah,
Why don't we structure these things now?
right.
And so now
And
you're
have more
doing
time.
more like offense instead of defense.
True.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as with anything, you know, I've experienced positive site culture. I've experienced site culture that is, you know, people are disposable type of culture, which is awful. And here's what I've learned: you either, and this is a butchered Brene Brown quote, where she says you can spend.
Wait, who's Brene Brown?
Brene Brown. You don't know Brene Brown?
No.
I'm gonna let you do your homework on that one.
All right.
You got to go do some homework.
BURNEE.
BROWN.
Do you know who this is?
No.
Brene Brown. She's a best-selling author who teaches
okay.
about vulnerability, authenticity, leadership.
All right. I got some homework to do.
You absolutely do, but you know what? You embody a lot of the elements of her work naturally, so you're going to resonate with it
Okay.
already. But one of the things she talks about is spending an unreasonable amount of time invested up front in your people to make things just work smoothly
Right.
because you've got trust in place, or you will squander that same amount of time trying to manage inefficiency.
Yeah.
And I see the same thing in I've seen it over the years with the tech stacks and everything that's come out, but especially now in AI, it's like prompt engineering and being able to really invest very, very meticulously may feel like it's not worth the effort in the beginning, but when it clicks just right and you see this cascade of data map, it's just the level of satisfaction of being able to know, like, I can get through my whole busy day's worth of clinic in, like, I don't know, half an hour's worth of it, just click and
Yeah.
fill.
Okay.
That is worth it, right? Because then that means I can go follow up with my patient who called me because they had to reschedule, or you know what, our lab kit was expired and I didn't realize until the patient was here, and now I have to send the patient back home, and now I have to go rush expedited kits. Like, that's where AI cannot quite get there yet. I mean, maybe, you know, there are other vendors out there that can put measures in place to prevent those things from happening. But once the situation arises, you don't need artificial intelligence, you need human empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the capital that is going to be a limiting, you know, that's our rate limiting step as we think about the future.
I think that's the bull case too. And the more I think about this, pharma's never had, like, not been wanting to spend money. It's all, the bottleneck's always been the coordinators. You know, this industry is like a house of cards. Like, you talk high about all this shit, and then ultimately it's Luis and other coordinators doing all the work. So you can talk all this high level stuff.
That's right.
They're not even brought into the conversations. And then, okay, they gotta
They
do
gotta
it.
use that.
You know, but I think if we can solve some of that stuff, I think the sponsors basically have blank checks to spend on more research. I think the rate determining step, that's the bullish optimist case. I'm hoping I'm right. I'll forever be optimist, but there's a lot of bear case out there too. Chris Auber, shout out to Chris Auber. He would tell me this like, this is the end. I already know how he would argue, but I don't choose that route. But it's possible as well. I don't know, but I see the good stuff already. I do see that there's benefits to being early, and even if we don't need to know what the long end game is, if you can benefit on some of those gains early on, I think you're winning as a site. And for us small sites, we got to stick together because these bigger sites, they're figuring it out on their own, and they've got money to throw at this stuff.
Yeah.
Me and you don't have that much money to throw around. It's all sweat equity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important, involving the coordinators, the staff, whoever's going to use this, and that's important what Gleam's doing, that you're actually at the site, you're looking at that perspective. How can you improve it? Because I truly believe all those AIs that invest in that and go to the sites to learn that are going to be the most successful. The ones that don't are the ones that don't work out, because they throw something at you, expect it to work, and it doesn't work. But that feedback, and I think definitely if you're going to be using this, you should have a voice. And that's the way I see it. So, and we're very cautious what we bring on at our site. I'm very hesitant. Anytime an AI, I can do all these great things. I don't know. I gotta see it.
Skeptical. I was skeptical of Gleam too.
Yeah, and then we'll try something out. But then I bring in all the coordinators, research assistants. I'm like, okay, what do you guys think? Do you want to use it or not? Should we try it? If they're all on board, then we try it.
I think sites should be skeptical. There's so many vendors out there now. They all say they do something. They're all chasing. The majority of them are chasing quick buck.
Yeah, no.
They need us to test their shit. We gotta be skeptical by default. But Gleam stuck out to me. There's a handful of them that stick out.
Exactly. I'm very skeptical, and we will.
Oh yeah, you're more so than me.
Yeah, we'll jump on calls. I'm like, I don't know. I gotta see it to believe it. And then there's sometimes like, no, I don't think this is gonna work. Sorry. Like, let's move on.
Yeah, Oliver squashed all those doubts in like the first 5 minutes of my Zoom call.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That guy's got something in him.
Yeah, looking forward to see how it grows. Yeah.
You guys got to get back, but we have our regional meetup Saturday. But by the time this is released, it'll already happen. You'll see Judy there. You'll see Daniel. Are you coming?
Oh,
I just invited you an hour ago.
I feel like we should do lottery. I feel like we should do lottery number projections.
right?
Yeah.
Nobody's claimed the lottery, right?
When's the next
It's
drawing?
1.4 billion now.
I need to buy a
something
ticket.
Oh yeah,
that.
no, nobody.
I need this
So,
ticket.
How many numbers is it? 5 numbers and a Powerball?
Yeah.
Wow.
Give us 5 numbers and a Powerball.
3, 5, 22, 12, 24, and 7.
Okay. What about you?
That's gonna win, and I didn't buy a
Oh
ticket.
my god, I don't know.
Just any.
I was just going with my date of birth.
Hey, you never know.
Have you
never
seen
know.
Lost?
That-
Have you seen Lost?
Some
Nah, you're too
episodes.
young, man.
No,
You guys
some
seen Lost,
episodes.
right?
Yeah, or maybe even just the Powerball number. What do you think?
Well,
Powerball
yeah,
number. I'm gonna go with 35.
9.
9. Nick Van Exel. I like that. Mine is 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I don't know.
Just pick
Powerball, let's go.
18.
18.
There you go. That's a good one.
It's a good number, yeah.
I know. So whoever wins 35, please share it over here.
We got anything else before you guys go? SaveOurSites.com.
Yeah,
We gotta plug it. March 2026. You guys will all
March
be there.
5th through the 7th. And we
March
have our
5th.
next regional, so aside from Irvine and Houston, December
Houston.
6th. And we're still taking on sponsors for both the regional and conference. So reach out to us, admin@saveoursites.com.
And we're talking about stuff like this, how you could get ahead as a site. All right, cool. Anything else? Any shout outs?
No, I think, I'm going to get back to the topic about like being skeptical, right? About the new things that the sites are looking. But
I'm
I'm pretty,
skeptical.
yeah, I'm sure.
You should be.
But yeah,
But Judy's even more skeptical.
Oh yeah, I am.
yeah, and I heard.
And I tell them, by the way.
Yeah, and I know that the story
I don't have
coordinators
the
are
heart.
just like talking about like the
Yeah.
new features, like
Yeah.
for example, Gleam does, and I think I was happy when they were introduced to that about what Gleam is doing. So I don't know, when a coordinator told you like, hey, this could be a really good
Yeah.
fit, you know, for
Yeah.
the clinic. They're really telling you the truth. Like
Yeah.
that's why I feel like I want to help you guys, you know,
Yeah.
as much as I can.
Wow.
So
That's good.
yeah, I was just like thinking, I was like, yeah.
Oliver, you can't hire Luis. His LinkedIn profile is underneath the video.
Take it off.
It's
take it
under
off.
my-
Yeah, we'll take
Don't
it off.
include it. Don't include it.
Judy's was under, and so is Daniel. Anything from you, Daniel?
Oh, you know, I
Must
don't know.
follow. You're a must follow on LinkedIn.
You know,
Continue
I
to be
just,
authentic. You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if there's, I guess, any kind of last words or reflections that I can offer to folks is embrace the uncertainty. You know, you find a lot of freedom. You find a lot of just so much invisible baggage that you hold when you're just so afraid of the unknown. But when confronted with the reality of like, hey, nothing's for certain ever, you can live a little bit more courageously, a little bit more authentically. And you're a better person for it, not just at work, but in your relationships as well, right? So I know that it is a particularly turbulent time in the market space, you know, in the market for work. And in particular, in an even more challenging backdrop, just where we are in the state of the world. And you opened us up with a question about like on the lowest of my lows. And one of the things that I would do on those days, I would just go and touch grass. I would put my backpack on. I would get out of the house. I would go walk along the LA River. I'd go to the park. I would sit there and
Get
I have a
grounded.
video. I'm going to find it and maybe we'll put a snippet in the comments of me interacting with a squirrel. I mean, it's like, what? Who has time to go play with a squirrel,
I
right?
saw the Echo Park one.
No, that was at the LA River.
Okay.
You know, but these are things like nature reveals so much
Yeah.
and gives you so much inspiration. Like I saw a spider weaving a web one day and I got to like actually see how this spider just swings from one place to the next to the other. And so much inspiration around efficiency comes from that. And it's everywhere if you just become still enough to see it.
Be one, and that's before psychedelic. You didn't even do psychedelics.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. It really
I
is.
agree, man.
So
Like,
I really encourage folks to
Nature
find
is
stillness
humbling.
in your chaos.
nature is it's good. It was here before us. It'll be here after us.
I mean, we are nature.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's all it is. Well, there you have it, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Go follow all these people.
yeah.
Bye bye. Hey, if you guys like that kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Stay tuned for more videos.